Weaver team is eagerly awaiting the opportunity to connect with you. We highly encourage active participation in today's session as it will greatly enrich your learning experience. I'd also like to express a sincere gratitude to Shobana ma'am for her exceptional efforts in organizing and facilitating this bootcamp. Without her dedication and support, this event wouldn't have been possible. Thank you once again for making this opportunity available to all of us. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, Pranav. A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to this virtual internship session today on Full Stack. And I'm Pooja Agrawal. I am a senior developer advocate with OpenWeaver. OpenWeaver is a SaaS technology company supporting over 1 million developers build their ideas faster by reusing open source software. Our vision is to reinvent digital realization, simply put, improve the way applications are built. By investing in a unique combination of public domain knowledge and artificial intelligence, OpenWeaver is delivering smarter ways to build the digital world of tomorrow. We have a tool which we call Candy, and that helps that helps you get millions of functions. Let's say a code for integrating into an application, just like integrating a chat gpt. You could create stripe payments with it. You could also search and add a map to a page. You could also do email authentication, and so much more is possible with the help of Candy. It basically accelerates your product development, which will help developers reduce the time that is taken to develop applications. And also, it helps you get the best fit with any license compliance requirement or any dependent libraries, etc. You can also search on it. You could also check for vulnerabilities that any particular library tool would bring in on Candy. So basically, it lets every developer save between 30 minutes to 6 hours, depending on the code that you're expected to search and develop using the tool called Candy. It signifies knowledge and intelligence. So, this virtual internship journey that we are going to start today, basically, we launched it in collaboration and partnership with ICT and several other universities. It is a 4 week internship which is spread across 5 domains. Primarily, we have data science, AI engineering, generative AI, full stack development, likewise, and web development. So basically, this virtual internship aligns with the concept that we want you to be able to be more industry ready. You should have more hands-on experience rather than just knowing the concepts. We do believe that at the end of the day, it's the projects and the skills and your hands-on workout that would help you, get ahead as compared to just, working around with the concepts itself. So if you see, we have week one aligned with one bootcamp, and with this boot camp, we also align some coding exercises that you have to perform within the week. And before we go with the second week's boot camp on the same day, we want you to be successfully submitting these coding exercises. Then the week two also aligns with the MCQ questions, coding exercises that you have to do. We discuss the concept through a boot camp session in the week two itself. And post that, week three is when we have our final boot camp. And during this final boot camp, we expect you to do simpler set of exercises, but there is a final assessment which includes a project that you have to do based on the concepts that we discussed throughout the 3 week to 4 week sessions that we did, and then finish it within the 1.5, let's say 1.5 week of duration that is being provided alongside with the coding exercises. Only when you do all these coding exercises, you are able to get your badge. Every week we give you a badge on completing your coding exercises. And then post the fourth week, we provide you with an internship completion certificate only if you have submitted the project as well as your exercises for each week. So it is very important that you take these sessions really diligently
Hello?
and sincerely. would request for the participant who has recently joined to mute himself. All right. So I just mentioned, please take these sessions really diligently. That will help you complete it. Also learn through these sessions the technologies that are going to help you get ahead in comparison to just, I would say, learning a concept and doing a practical session on it. So we will go a little bit beyond that. Next slide, please. So we talk about the internship schedule. Week one, which is our day to day, we would have our first bootcamp session, and here we will also augment it with a few coding exercises. The post the session, we'll send you a follow up email. So it's very important that you read the email properly. We will instruct on how easily you can work around those exercises with the tool called Candy. So it's very important that you check out the email properly. Look for an email from OpenWeaver that we would send you after the session. And also, it's very important that you participate in all boot camps and complete all the coding exercises. Yeah, so attendance for each bootcamp session is also necessary. That is already, something that I think you guys understand. And especially this is a 1 hour to 1.5 hour of session. So primarily and essentially, it is very important that for this duration, you are able to concentrate and then focus on finishing the exercises at your own disposal and time. Also use your college ID for all purposes of submission. The email ID that you have used to register for this full stack virtual internship, you should use that same email ID so that we are accordingly able to track your submissions, and the same will only be valid. You also need to sign up on our community platform, which I will just discuss in a couple of minutes. So for that as well, important to use the same college email ID, and it is most suitable to use a Windows 11 with Chrome, Google Chrome, for best results for the kits that we will use in these sessions going forward as well as today. So we are also dedicated to providing you with the support that is required throughout this virtual internship through our community platform. So before we go and talk about our community platform, I would want to also establish some session rules with you. First of all, very important that all of us are punctual through this session. We join on the required stipulated time of 11 a.m. every Tuesday. You should ensure that you have your laptops, systems with the proper connection so that you are able to use the tools, etc., during the session properly. And there's no glitch because of internet or other issues that may put you outside from the session, and it may become difficult for you to go through the required required concepts. Also, it will be good if you engage in discussions, ask questions, actively contribute throughout the session. That will be advantageous for yourself. That way, you will be also able to interact with us. Just beyond me delivering, it will be good if you also, put your queries in the chat. We could also unmute after the session and take your queries one by one. So that will be really good. It will be helpful if you follow the instructions from the very beginning, as I would give the instructions to you if you have any doubts or any clarification is required. So you could actually put your queries right away in the chat. I would keep looking for uh, any of your queries that you have put into the chat section. So Microsoft Teams chat section where you have joined. Minimize your distractions. It will be good for this duration as we are going through the internship. You sit in a quite well lit room and you are not having any background noises or any distractions that could hinder your focus. So, and the final and very important part, your submissions. So, whatever assignments, whatever coding exercises are being provided, you need to submit them before the due date, as mentioned in the submission form. No late submissions would be accepted. And if you miss out on a deadline, it will be really difficult for us to take forward. So now I guess we are done with a lot of discussion on what rules we need to establish for the virtual internship. Let's get into the session for today. So we have this Java for beginners today. Uh, I guess most of you must have learned Java by now, but we will do a quick intro of it and then get to a simple banking solution today. And as we talk about the introduction, you could also give your views in the chat as to what you think and how Java is different from the current different programming languages that are available for development in different areas and domains. We will talk about data types, control statements. Even if either if you think that Java is something you're not comfortable with, today I would try to make it really interesting, and we would start from the very basics, assuming that couple of you still need to get a good hold on the language. And then we will also do some simple code snippet exercise that will help you understand how you can use our platform to get to functions. You could search for code snippets and use those code snippets in submitting the assignments as well. And going forward, if you're trying to develop an application, real-time application, that is also possible through Candy. So I'll help you, understand how you could use the tool using a code snippet, I mean demo. And then we will finally get into the banking application that is being deployed today for this session, which is through our Candy one-click kit. All right. So before we go ahead and discuss, the concepts, I would like to showcase you what is the solution source for this basics of Java session that we are looking at. So if you see your we are actually going to have this without interface, I mean UI. We have just a very simple banking, application developed in Java. Reason for this, simplistic kit is that we want you to at least be very well familiar with the least of the basic concepts that could help you actually work around this language called Java. So there are a couple of options that are given. Let's say you could check account balance, you could check whether you could actually deposit money, you could withdraw money, you could also check your previous transaction detail, you could calculate your fixed deposit interest or your savings account interest, etc. So there are these options that are available from A to Q throughout your program. Let us just start with the first option. Let's say I enter an option A, and currently I have a zero account balance. Let's say I want to deposit. So I would go for option B and then deposit an amount of, let's say, 3,000. And it would just give me a message that amount deposited in the account is 3,000. Let's say I want to check for an option D. So it would just mention your previous transaction status is deposited 3,000. And similarly, we could also check for calculate fixed deposit interest. So let us check this option E. And it will ask us to enter a principal amount, let's say 5,000, and a period of 3 years. And then it would show that this is the interest that you would get. So this is the fixed amount of fixed deposit interest that is being provided. Since it is hard coded, the rate of interest into the code, the same is what you could change and accordingly calculate the interest for your amount that you're depositing accordingly. It is P into R into T by 100. But then there is also an option to similarly calculate the savings account interest. So yes, the savings account interest would primarily be less than your uh, fixed amount, I mean fixed deposit interest. So let's say again, I gave it an amount of 5,000. The duration again, I'm saying that the same is present. So we see that this completely depends on what rate of interest we are hard coding into the code. As simple as that. So this is a very simple code, but we want to understand how you could, as a starter, do code a simple program like this. So with Q, I had exited this, and it just says thank you for using our services. So this is going to be the application for today that we will work around. And you don't have to do much. You just have to set things onto your systems. So to be able to set things onto your system, in the chat, you would see that a link would be provided for our community platform. So I would just uh, wait. Yeah. So if you see, this is the link that is being provided. Go ahead and please click on the link. You should be signed into the community platform. That way, you could use various other features of this community platform of OpenViewer. So please go ahead and just click on login. If you don't already have an account, you would be able to sign up to use this tool. So since I already have my account in this, it will just give me an option to log in. For you, this sign up will also occur. So I use your college email ID. Very important to use your college email ID, and whatever password you think is good, you could sign up. And once you have signed up, it would be good that you are able to get into the session. So live events, and this is the page that has been dedicatedly created for your college, which is Loyola College of Engineering and Technology. So this is a week one where we discuss the concepts around Java programming. We mention that while we discuss and focus on today's session, we will discuss concepts around a high level language, class based as well as object oriented based implementations and dependencies that have been reduced because there is a language called Java. And then we will develop I just showcased you a very simple application which was on banking application. It's a simple prototype of the same. The same can be extended as per your expectation. You could actually make it more and more interesting depending on whatever constant you add onto the prototype. Okay, so you would learn concepts around typecasting, you would learn concepts on if else, do while loop, switch case, etc. during development of this application. And then you could actually fine tune the application as per your requirements, and then make it more specific to your requirement in a banking application. So this section, which is a 10-minute tutorial, here you could go and revisit the concepts in under 10 minutes that I have discussed for the session throughout. So this is a quick refresher of sorts that you could use for revisiting the concepts and just checking out what was discussed in the entire session today. Or else you could actually go and click here, post the 1 hour post the session. We will actually add our video here, so that way, the entire recording for the session is also available to you. And a quick refresher video, which you can currently see, is also present. If you would like to check out the entire recording, go on, click here, post the session, 1 hour post the session. So this is the most important section for our page. This is the most important section. So before I talk more about this section, I would first like to ask you as to how many of you were able to quickly sign up onto this community platform. Let us quickly check. This will be helpful that signing up. Nivedita is already done with that. How many of the others? Okay. So there's Joseph. There is okay. We have around 12 of you who have been able to sign up. And it would be really good if all 60 you know 60 of you are able to sign up, because going forward this is going to be the platform where we are going to do everything. Your submissions will be done from here, your exercises will be augmented from here. Still we have only 16 of you, 17 of you who are able to finish. Joseph, if you could just stop sharing, I guess. You've just pinned yourself, I believe. Yeah, thank you. Okay, the rest of you, in case there is some trouble that you are having with the sign up process, you could just let me know in the chat. Those who are still feeling like there's something, 18, 19 of you have done it, but rest of you, if you're facing any issue with the sign up, you could just quickly post it in the chat. That way we'll be able to proceed quickly. So it should have been possible for all 60 students, 62 students who are there in this meet. All of you should be able to sign up. Even if you're not on the laptop, sign up can be done from your mobile also. I mean, it's a suggestion. However, it will be good if you could do it and have your laptops all the time during the session. All right. Thank you everyone for acknowledging. I hope currently you guys don't have a doubt. So I would just move again to the discussion where we just left. On the page for which the link has been shared by my colleague, we have a section called practical exercise. All right. On this section, you just have to click on the Candy One Click Kit. Go ahead and click on the Candy One Click Kit. This kit page is basically where you would see the instructions are listed down for how you could set up the kit for Windows. If you are on any other operating systems, then also we have mentioned what instructions you need to follow. If you are on Windows, you could follow what I am showcasing. Just click on the one click installer. It will download a zip file. Just say show in folder. We will extract the contents of this zip file. Just right click and say extract all. Double click the folder. You would find a batch file. Within the batch file, just double click. Windows would ask you to check, since this is a executable file, hence Windows want you to check before executing the entire set of instructions and everything getting set up automatically onto your systems. So I would say more info, run anyway. The reason being, I want to get this kit set up, and the interesting part is everything gets set up on your system just by following these simple clicks and downloading this onto your local machine. So it will first say that I'm installing the JDK and Java, and similarly, it will keep installing all of this, and it will also mention the path. So let the setup happen. Depending on the bandwidth that you are on, it may take a couple of minutes. Also, just in case anyone is facing any error or any issue while downloading the kit, you could just wait for me. We would come back and discuss on the kit and its issues in couple of minutes. So let this setup happen. You can minimize this screen for now, and we will get back into the discussion of today's session. All right. So we would just minimize the screen. Let that setup please happen. It would take a couple of minutes depending on whatever bandwidth you guys are on. And for now, we would talk on our today's concepts. So I hope my screen is clearly visible. We are on our deck for today where I'm talking about what is Java. So as I discuss what is Java, do you guys already are familiar? I guess most of you are familiar. You guys are third year, final year students, so you must be already able to quickly speak that Java is a true object-oriented programming language. It is a language that, how is it different from C, or how is it different from any procedural oriented programming language? So what comes to your mind? What makes Java very unique? If can anyone put it in the chat? What makes Java, so interesting, or what makes Java different from any other programming language? What was the USP behind Java? Unique selling proposition for this programming language. Any one of you, if you could just quickly put it in the chat box. So there is this thing called platform independence with Java, which makes it really unique. Um, I believed that most of you would be able to answer it, but however, looking at nobody putting a response, I believe that it will be good to take it from the very basics. Am I right? Is it good to take it from the very basics? A yes or no would help. Hmm. All right. Yeah. So basically, Java, if you talk about, was introduced by James Gosling. And as he was developing a programming language, the intention behind developing Java was a language was wanted that was similar in syntax to C, C++, but were able to, overcome the shortcomings of these programming language. So Java is pretty much similar in syntax. However, it is able to it is able to reduce, or I would say it is able to completely eradicate the problems that we had with C++, where there was a problem for multiple inheritance, there was problem with pointers, illegal access to pointer spaces, etc. All that is being completely removed in this programming language. Also, it is a platform independent programming language. What makes Java platform independent is what we are going to discuss, and how this powerful language today has become, or was always, as the most preferred language that was used by developers. So most of the websites, if you see, they have their backend or database built in Java. And the reason is that this is a language that you could write once and run anywhere. So basically, once I've written it onto a system, I just need a Java virtual machine and I can run that same code elsewhere as well. So I just need the machine to be ready enough to run the compiled bytecode. So a compiler, I guess that is a tool, or that is basically uh, you know a tool that does convert a language from high level to low level or machine understandable form. So Java is both compiled as well as interpreted language. So you could actually run code line by line also, and you could actually start from the left top corner up till the very last. And that way, Java has really become very, very powerful and has been vividly used in development of various applications. The most complex applications you would see would have been developed in Java. So it is again, it follows the concepts of object oriented programming, where it's a abstracted programming language. It is a language that follows the concepts of uh, you know uh, it's I mean, I would say inheritance, and it would also follow your all the concepts around classes and objects would be also followed in Java, but in a way that all the shortcomings would be removed or eradicated. So how does it came into being? James Gosling in the year 1991 was at Sun Microsystems, where he initially named it as Oak, which is under the name of a tree, and later he called it Green, and only finally the name came out as Java, which is based on an Indonesian coffee. So this symbol, which we can see, also resonate well with the name which finally came into being. And somehow it was something that they wanted to make addictive, or I would say something that is being used by everyone. All of the programmers and everyone wanted to use a language that was suitable and simple enough, and did not require a lot of study field, work on studying. So Java was originally developed for interactive television. When we say design for interactive television, previously, if you remember those old mobile phones that you used to have with the keypad and a very, very small screen, those all used to run on J2ME. And Java was the key language that could use to, your J2ME would be the key language that could be used to write a simple program and accordingly run it on the mobile phone. But today we see that Android has come, and Android has uh, enhance the way you run applications. You are every day getting a new application or update onto your mobile phones. So Android is also based on Java. So the core component even of the mobile based Android development is Java. So it is very important we know the concepts around it. And when you say that you want to be an application programmer, you need to be familiar with the syntax as well as the basic programs that should be worked around in Java. So first implementation, public implementation of Java as Java's 1.0 version that came in January 23, 1996. And today, as of March 21st, we were able to have Java SE20 version. So most of your systems are usually, they come set up with Java. However, It's very important that apart from the other applications that require Java development environment, so to be able to write your programs, we require a JDK, okay, a Java development kit. So that is what is required to be set up. And currently, as we are discussing on the background, your application is already getting set up. So if we talk about the features, it is easy to learn because it has similar syntax to C, C++. It is highly secure. So the concept of where there was, illegal access to pointers and memory, etc., all that has been simplified in Java, so that there is no security leak that is happening. Also, though there's no concept for operator overloading or multiple inheritance that used to confuse and make things difficult while we were working with programming languages like C and C++. Also, it has automatic garbage collection. So the issue for space and memory is also pretty much reduced as compared to any other language. Automatically, space is being collected and provided. There is concept for multiple threading. So multiple threading, if I ask you, most of you may know what multiple threading is. If anyone would like to, you know, put up a answer to this, what multiple threading is. All right. Okay, I just see a yes that may have been put earlier. If you know threads, then you may also know that when we talk about running multiple applications in the same system, like you do today, okay, you're running this session on Teams, and then you're also running an application which is getting set up onto your systems. Similarly, let's say if you are searching something on the browser, so that are three multiple different threads that are being created, and you are actually using them to uh, do multiple tasks at the same time. In case of multi-threading, I can listen to music, I can browse the internet, I can set up an application like we're already doing onto the systems. So today everything that we see has surrounded or has been possible with the capability to run multiple applications and programs simultaneously, and accordingly a space being provided to them into the RAM. Also, we say that Java is able to give us high performance and fast interpretation. So this high performance that we talk about is contributed to the capability of automatic garbage collection, to the capability of being fastly interpreted. It is able to do quick interpretation. It is able to compile the code quickly, get to the required errors, etc., pretty quick. That makes Java really helpful and interesting. So Java can be used for web development, mobile development. We use it for big data applications, Internet of Things application, for game development. That has become the key language because of being highly secure, and even in scientific and mathematical computation. However, specifically after machine learning, Python has been the key. Still, Java keeps its one end tied pretty good within the space today. So I think Java is the only programming language that can compete with our modern day Python language today. So how do you get started? You need a Java development kit. So that is getting already set up. You would need a text editor. So we really need you to either have a VS Code set up onto your systems. That is something that we've not added into the kit. If it, I mean, currently we just have everything on the command line. You could run it from the command line as well. However, if you want to graphically view, just add a text editor. We give, I mean, it's you're free to just download any kind of text editor. It will be good to use VS Code. However, apart from these two requirements, you need to run the Java program. So for that, I mean, you already within the kit we have your JVM. So I would help you understand and break the different components that are available in the JDK. So we need to get our code converted into bytecode from the high level English language or the language in which we have written the syntax. We convert it into an intermediate bytecode. So that is what is already available. A tool is available for that in JDK, and that bytecode is then converted into object code or machine code or in low level language code 01 form. So that all also is already there done with the help of the JDK that we install or we already add to your kit. So how do you understand the execution or the cycle in which a Java program runs? First things first, we have our source code or the program, which is then interpreted, or let's say with the help of your compiler, you convert your high level English language into a bytecode form. So this bytecode form that you convert, this intermediate form is converted using the compiler is called Java C, JavaC, and that is also part of your Java development kit. Helps you convert the high level language, English level language into the bytecode, which is then executed in the JVM. So JVM is your primarily component. So every system which has a JVM, I suppose have a program, I run it on my machine, get it converted into a bytecode, and then this bytecode I can run, carry it on other machine having JVM, and then pretty much run, like let's say on a Windows system, I can go to the Linux system, run the same program, just need a Java virtual machine, a JVM that holds this bytecode in the form of classes. I can run on any platform. That is what makes it really compatible. And only requirement is I should have my JVM installed. So this JVM then does the interpretation or just in time compiles the bytecode into machine code that can be executed by underlining hardware. So this could be one of the very simplest of process that is followed while you execute a Java program. This is important to know the process where JAVAC comes, where your JVM comes, and there are more components to this. However, this is primarily what is more important. What creates your Java bytecode, and once the bytecode is created, what is the component or tool that runs that bytecode? Okay. So structure, quickly we want to talk about the basic boilerplate of Java, where we want to understand that how exactly would I start writing my first program in Java. So suppose you want to print hello world, which will be our first program to the console in Java, then you would need to follow these three line or three instruction set process. First is public class main. So when I say public class main, public is an access modifier. Or basically, when I say that everything within Java is enclosed within classes and objects are used to access components of class, we are primarily focusing on the, let's say, the syntax. I mean, this is the syntax that primarily has to be always there. You can't go without this. You could actually, use system.out.println, which is again a simple instruction that is available in a packaged form, and you could call this and say print hello world. So in C we use printf etc., and then accordingly we also have similar syntax in C++. However, Java follows a structure where first you mention the access specifier, you mention the path. So in most of the languages, you would know that where exactly the code, like where is exactly the start of the program is. So to be able to signify that, you have a main method. Within this main method, you can add the entire instructions that you would write to run. So entry point starts with the main method, and after that you have your public static void main. So what is this public static? Even there are multiple modifiers, not just public, but since we are discussing about the basics of session, there is public, private, right, and protected. So this, if you talk about public, we know that your control or your other classes can also access the main function of this public class, this public method. And then we also have mentioned a keyword called static. So static keyword is used when within a class we know that we may not use or we do not create object of this class. Okay. To access this class, you may not even require an object to access it that will run. And statistically, there is also the if you say public, which is open to all, then static, you are simply mentioning it would run even if there is no object that is being created for this main method here. Void is your return type. We are as of now mentioning void, you could also mention int, etc. So when you say there is nothing that may be required to be returned by this method, then you just add void to it. Your string arguments, args is your arguments, so we are just mentioning that there will be string type arguments here. And within this method, you have system.out.println. So println is basically a method which is within the system package and then within the out class. So basically we want that we want to print it as an output, right? Hello world. So we use system.out.println and we terminate it with a semicolon. So very important to remember the syntax. You need to terminate it with a semicolon. So this public is basically something that can be seen from any package. So there are packages, there are classes, and then there are objects that are used to access the member functions in the your classes data members, right? So both of those can be accessed through when we are saying that our object is created for a particular class. Then talking about the data types. So primitive data types are there, which we have similar data types like int, double boolean, character, char. Also, we have byte, short, long, and float. Boolean will have your same values as true and false. Declarations pretty much look like C. For like example, double, we have mentioned two variables x and y. Then a count variable, which is of integer type, has been initialized directly here with 0. So if you talk about the control statements, that will help us create a program for today. We have given conditions such as if x is less than y, then we simply know that that means that smaller value is assigned. I mean, x is that if that condition satisfies, then smaller equal to x will execute. And similarly, if you have if x less than y, smaller equal to x, or else you are just saying within after we have terminated it with this semicolon, we are saying sum plus equal to x. So this can be read as sum equal to sum plus x. Okay, sum equal to sum plus x. So since we have written these in the same line of if where we have mentioned the condition. So if condition is satisfied, if x value of x is less than y, then sum will increment with a value of x. Sum will increment with the value of x, or else your smaller will be y, which we already see based on the condition, and sum will be incremented with y. So depending on the condition that is being satisfied, sum will either increment with x or sum will get incremented with y. Similarly, if you are talking about a while loop, so in the while loop, if the while condition is satisfied, then we would say that y will be deducted with x. The value of y will be reduced with a value of by a value of x. Similarly, you have a do while loop. So do while loop is where your code will run for the very first time from the very beginning to the end and only terminate. Do means condition satisfied and we enter the loop if y equal to y minus x, and this will keep running until your while loop is terminated or your condition for while loop is not satisfied. So this will keep running the code, which is y equal to y minus x up till your x is uh, you know not less than y. So the while condition has to terminate, which will only terminate when your x is greater than y. So that is do while loop. We would use a do while loop today. So it's very important that you should be clear in your concept for the do while loop. For loop basically initially has an initialization that happens like int I equal to 0. Then there is a conditional statement where the same we check within a condition. Let's say I less than max. So max is some variable with which I until I is less than max, the for loop will keep running. And what is the body of the for loop? It simply is asking to increment sum with sum plus I. So what we also want to mention is conditions should be Boolean, either true or either false. They can't be beyond that. So there is control statements too, wherein we are also using a switch case. So for switch case, we also check a condition, let's say a variable n plus one, if it is being satisfied. So this is again a continuous switch loop where case one is, let's say m value of m is equal to n minus one. If case 1 follows from the condition, if case 2 follows, then sorry, case 1 follows, then m's value will be n plus 1. So similarly, either case could run. So then if we add a break statement, let's say case 0 and break, then the default condition would not run. So this is also important to understand. Break will break your code exactly once the case 0 or case 3 is running. But default is when the condition, I mean, in all normal default cases, when no condition is satisfied, then your default will surely run for your switch case. So again, that is something important to know. Quickly, we move to classes and objects. So in Java, almost everything is in classes. So if you talk about each class definition has its own Java file. And this is the file that we primarily want that the name should match the class name. Very important when you save a file in Java that you save it with your class's name that you have mentioned. So that is something that you need to remember. A class describes objects. So when we say it describes objects, objects are used as components which access your classes data members and your member functions both. So whatever are the common characteristics, those will be exhibited by the objects. So also all the different objects of the same class will have the same characteristics. That is obvious. So what are these characteristics? The data fields would be the variables and methods will be the functions which work on the data fields. So we primarily say that Java is something which has core packages as well as some extensive collection of packages which make Java classes really interesting and helpful to work around with. So Swing is particularly used for the graphical user interface as a complete package. So that is something that would be not a basic part to discuss. Hence, we've not added anything related to Swing. Then there is AWT, your application window toolkit, which is more advanced as compared to Swing that can be primarily used. If you would like to go and check out, then Swing in AWT is what you should work around with as packages. Then util is again which we are using for your data structures, working around with creating your classes, your data members and member functions. Import statement that helps you tell the compiler to get those particular classes and methods available within the code. And main method is where you start executing your program. So how do you develop quickly? The current scenario is that everywhere we talk about open source libraries. Use as much as possible open source libraries, tools, codes, because it is available to anyone and everyone free of cost. You don't have to worry much about anything. It's an entire developer community that contributes to it, and that's how you're able to go pretty much beyond just the simple uh, code around, let's say, I don't have to worry about the proprietary libraries that may be requiring me to download it from specific space. So open source, again, available to anyone and everyone. And when you use anything that is open source, you need to just have a quick check on the support, security, quality, and license. So you pretty much understand that security and quality are the key components. And license is something which as students you may not focus much on. You may think that how is it beneficial, but when you work for a organization or when you are developing an application for commercial purposes, it is very important that you check the license as if it is permissive, it is non-permissive, it is strong copyleft, it is weak copyleft. So most of these 99.9% of our candy kits in fact 100% of these candidates are permissive, means you could use these and then enhance the code to make it specific to your application. So you don't need to contribute back to community. Okay. With a permissive license, you don't require to give back. You don't require any permission that is required from the owner of the code. However, in any other license agreement, you may have to give back to community either, or you may have to, you know, there could be any proprietary requirements. Accordingly, you will have to check and work. So now let's start programming. We just need to check. This is our kit. I would quickly reshare my screen. So you should have reached here by now, all of you. You just have to say yes and enter. So this would run and open this simple banking application program onto your screens. So we've already demonstrated it. We could have a quick demo once again. Let's say I want to deposit an amount and I deposit, let's say 5,000. So it would just mention that I could check the account balance. It's 5,000. I could go with the FD interest. I would like to check for 4,000 as the principal amount, 5 years, and then whatever is the fixed amount that I've mentioned, accordingly, the interest is being provided here. So there are various options that you can check upon and run this very, very simple program. Let us now look at the code. So to be able to look at the code, you just have to, open this folder where your program is. So based on our command line, we could simply see, if you go around here, it says that your program is available in C Candidates Java Basics. So we would go into our C Candidates and Java Basics. It's here. You could simply open this into any of the, IDE, any integrated development environment that you're comfortable with. So you can open it with VS Code if you would like. I already have an instance of it opened here. Okay, just the banking.java. So I would just try to explain you. But even before I try to explain you, let us quickly go back to our community page once and do an interesting exercise. So I have the page open. You see there is a section called week 1 coding exercises. So this is where you'll have to work around with the coding exercises for this week. So before we go, and in the later half, I may also explain you how to go about working on these coding exercises. But for now, I want to just simply do a sample exercise and show on Candy. So let's say I could just type candy.openweaver.com, or you could click on, if you see on the top, there is an option to navigate to candy.openweaver.com. And I want to do a simple exercise for direct user input in Java. So I just have to make a search here. Whatever I want to do, let's say I want to take a user input, and then I go to code snippets. And within the code snippets, I would see a relevant code that I could copy paste and use for ease in developing a simple program which I want to take a user input for. This is something which is a little bit more interesting as compared to just taking a simple input. There are various other options that are available. Let's say new scanner system, and elsewhere you can find multiple such code. But let's say I would pick up the very first one from here, then go to my editor, say file, new text file. I will paste it here. Okay. And as I paste it, I could quickly check my code for correctness, as if there is, the code is completely correct. I can see the simple code where I have done a simple import for Java util dot scanner. So then the scanner class is what is helping us take input from the user. We've used our, again, uh, standard code where we have public static void main string args. Then we have defined an object scanner classes object called as C. And then we are trying to take input from the user. What are we printing or showcasing to the user? You have to print the first thing would be showcased is the name, number. Then there is first name, there is last name, there is marks. Sorry, there is marks, and there is a grade. So all this is what will be showcased, and accordingly, I think I could also enter these, right, with the string, because we know a name would be a type of string data type. Then last name, then marks we have initialized to 0. Grade also we know is a string data type. The same can be collected. And then within a while loop, we have just said I less than equal to 2. So once I is equal to 2, after that I won't be able to enter any user input. Okay. How many entries I can, how many rows I can make? Two rows for entering all these inputs. So let me just run it. So for running it, first I have to save it. So I would say just Control S and then just give it a name. Let's say snippet one, or snippet. Let's just call it snippet. Save it. And then to be able to run it, I would just say a new terminal. And since I know the path of this, I just need to add the path. So to be able to get to the path where I have my program saved, so I've saved it here. Just copy this. I had given it a name called snippet. 1 minute. Java basics. Java basics and Java basics here. And the name is snippet. Yeah. So this is my source file, which has just been created. I will copy this path. Just say cd v. So I'm now in the folder where I have my snippet program. I can just compile using javac, and then I would just say java snippet.java and enter. So as I say snippet.java, I mean, it's a good mechanism. We could see that this num is showcasing the first name, last name, marks, and grid is being showcased. So let's say a first name, I would enter my name. And since I knew that those are separated by tab, right? All are separated by tab. Here, I could simply use tab and give it marks could be anything. Grade could be A. And then I would also give it another entry. Let's say, and there, and I would say Swami as the last name, whatever marks I believe 90, and then I can give it a grade as well, A plus plus. So you see, the moment I gave an enter after the second entry, I am taken out of this code. The reason is the condition that is set here is while I is less than equal to 2. If I just increase it to 3, save it, then come back here, rerun it. I've not compiled it though. So the best practice is to first compile. So I will just say, just try once again. 89, A, enter, A, 94, and tab and V. What do you think should happen? So currently we are able to enter a third entry as well. Okay. So we could just say Alex and 97, maybe A plus plus, and enter. So after the three entries, it is able to exit the code. So it's a simple, snippet that we just picked up from Candy to take input, or maybe let's say get entries for students with first name and last name, whatever marks or grade, right? You could just edit couple of these, add a more entry, and similarly you could do your coding exercises. by going on to Candy, searching for the right keywords, and then going to code snippets, and then searching whatever code could be helpful. If there is some simple syntax changes that are required, go ahead and please do that. Okay, for now, let's move to banking application. So this banking application, let's understand what is happening in the code. We already ran and checked what is the code, what is the program like. So we see that here we have a package that is being java starter.banking. We have made an import for scanner class. Then we have mentioned public class banking. Within this, we have public static void main. So you can also say, I didn't saved my class with the same name. So that is something I recall, but would also request you to keep recalling. Good to save your program with the class name. And then what we are doing within the public static void main string args, we have created an object which uh, which is obj, and then we have asked, as this program run, we want to show you call the show menu function. Okay, and we showcase this sl dev code and the simple serial number for the dev as well. All right, so then within this uh, class bank account, what all we have as data members, we have balance, we have previous transaction, we have customer name, we have a data member, two data members in the string type, which is customer ID as well as customer name. So that is one thing. Then we mention the CNAME and CID, your customer name and customer ID, which is being hard coded here. All right, that is being hard coded here. Then you have the deposit. So when we are calling out the deposit method within the this member function, what we are saying, if amount not equal to 0, then what do? Balance plus amount equal to balance, or else you uh, have your whatever is the amount.
I think there is some network issues, so let's wait.
Hey everyone, I guess I dropped off because of a small internet glitch from the meeting. We were talking about the withdraw method. Am I clearly audible?
Yes, Pooja.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we were talking about the deposit method, and then we are talking about the withdraw method. So in the withdraw method, since the balance, whatever is the balance amount from that, the amount that is being entered by the user is being withdrawn, and that will be our current balance. And previous transaction is again being enabled as your amount. Then you have your get previous transaction. So within this get previous transaction method, we have applied a condition if previous transaction greater than 0. Okay, then you print the deposited amount. All right, if else if previous transaction less than 0, then you go into the method, you say that withdrawn Then when you are saying withdrawn, then you are also saying match dot absolute, and then you are giving your variable previous transaction here. Whatever is the previous transaction value, which is less than 0, is being mentioned here. Or else, what are you printing? You are printing no transaction has occurred, right? If there is a transaction that has been occurred for withdrawal, that is what will be showcased, correct? As your previous transaction value with the absolute value. Okay. If it is a negative, then you will be showcased in like the absolute value, and if it is something that is being deposited, then it will be again your previous transaction with the deposited value. So I mean deposited this much amount. So then what is the show menu? That is primarily the that drawer icon with a, let's say we say welcome, the customer name is again hard coded, the customer ID is also hard coded. Then you say A as check account balance, B as deposit money, C withdraw, D is your previous transaction details, and E is again calculate fixed deposit and calculate savings account interest. So this is the do while loop. If you see, this is the do while loop until your option not is equal to Q. This won't exit. Okay. Until you press Q, it won't exit. So we will go from the do loop. Here it is mentioning whatever options you would like to enter. After you have entered the option and that has been collected here, then this
Pooja, I think you're on mute.
please do not mute me, please. That is something that should not be done. All right. So yes, once your option A gets matched here, then you would just mention, let's say, account balance, and whatever is the balance that will be showcased here as an output, and then would break out of this case A. But we are still in the loop. So then let's say case B. Suppose whatever the user has chosen is option B, then you would be asked to enter an amount to deposit. Then whatever amount is being deposited, that will be entered from here in the amount, and then the deposit method that we previously talked about, your member function, that will be called. And then amount deposited would be showcased as an outcome. And then again, we will come out of this case. C is when you are entering an amount to withdraw. Again, whatever is the amount to be withdrawn, that would be taken from the user. And then you would print system.out.println amount withdrawn from the account. And accordingly, your amount will be showcased. Then comes out from this C case, we have your previous transaction that will be simply being displayed here in D by calling the get previous transaction method here. Then you have your case E, where you have mentioned the rate of interest as 7.1. So currently, you see FD rates are high. You could reduce it depending on the uh, that will be captured from here. And then we have your system.out.println, where we see the P into R into T. The same simple method is being used for calculating your simple interest for your FD. And then we break out from this case E. For a case F, where we are talking about your savings account interest, we have set it to 5. However, it could be 4 point something. You could set it that way as well. And then you are asking to enter the principal amount. You're asking to enter the period, time period for which you want to check the interest that you could get from your savings account. Then the principal amount multiplied by the method to the power of 1 plus interest divided by 100 is what is being used. And then it is being deducted from principal amount. So the whatever mathematical function is being used to calculate your savings on your account is being provided here. And then the same is being showcased as an output on interest for savings account. Then comes in your case Q, which is where is it's asking for exiting, right? Preparing to exit, which is showcased when we exit from the program. So let's say, when is this default executed? So this is executed, suppose you are giving any option apart from the ones which are mentioned. So in valid option, please enter one of the valid options as A, B, C, D, E, F or Q. So irrespective of the choices that you have made, if you make a choice which is not the one which is present within the switch case, then your default is going to run. And with Q, we are able to exit from the program. So yeah, and here also we have mentioned in the while loop, alongside with this preparing to exit, it will print thank you for using our services. So this is a simple, very simple program that you could use as your banking application program. I hope you are able to get accustomed with this that we just discussed. And I hope most of you are able to also set up the kit onto your systems. So how many of you are able to run this program onto your systems? Could you just use this raise hand feature and acknowledge quickly? Okay. Okay. Just want to have the maximum show of hands. That will be helpful in understanding how many were able to set it up onto their systems. 8 of you, and all right. So amongst the ones who are there in the meeting, is anyone facing an issue with the setup of the kit? Thank you. You could lower down your hands. I think around 15 of you acknowledged and could help in case any of your friends are having trouble with the setup. It's a very simple kit, should be very easy to go around with. So the coding exercises would be somehow augmented around these. So coming to the submission part quickly. So you got to go on to your page that is being provided in the chat. Here, if you go down and scroll, you will see a week 1 coding exercise section. Click on this. If you see, there is a Google form. You need to check out the name of your college. Enter the name here. All right. Email ID as well. Mention the phone number, whatever is phone number, year of study, let's say 3rd year, branch is CSE. Then you say next. What is the output? Okay, these are the questions that you have to answer. Okay, multiple choice questions. Okay, just answer these. Then you have these coding exercises. So how do you submit your coding exercises? You need to take a screenshot of the code as well as the output with that code that you can showcase to us. So both of them added together in a single image is what you have to use to click here and add it as a file. Okay, just take screenshot of the code as well as the output also and add it as a file here. So these will be your 5 exercises that you'll have to submit, and this with this you will be able to simply finish your coding exercises as well as your multiple choice questions for week 1. Okay, so I guess this is it from our end today, and we are open to questions from the session as well as from the kit or anything apart that you would like to know from us. We'll be sending you a follow-up email where we will list down the ways in which you can, work around the coding exercises as well. Okay. So are there any questions that you may have? Or was it clear? Was it not clear? You could also unmute yourself if you are, not conveniently able to type. Was it simple and understandable and easy to work around today's solution? Any one of you could speak. Okay, thanks, Joseph. Also, I wanted to understand, you guys are 3rd year, final year, or like a mix of both? Very clear and simple. Thank you, Judith. That was easy. We start with a very basic session and finally, take it ahead. So week 2 will have concepts from JavaScript. Week 3 will be completely on filters. We will talk about how you create these Snapchat, Instagram filters. So that is how your sessions will be proceeding. All right. Thank you. And I'm glad that it was easy and simple to understand. Uh, Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Over to you, Sandhya.
Thank you, Pooja. So students, please complete your coding exercise for week 1 by next Monday, which is the 24th of July, in order to receive your level 1 badge. We will also send you a follow-up email today regarding the coding exercise with all the resources. So please check your inbox. So if you're having any queries, you can clarify now itself. The form will be opened till next week, 24th July, Joseph.
Yeah, that was something. The date is also mentioned in the form.
Yeah.
However, Monday evening 6 p.m. Right, Sandhya?
Correct. Yeah, 6 p.m.
Yeah, Monday evening 6 p.m. is when you will have to finish with your coding exercises and do your submissions.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope this basics of session just wasn't very very basic. Also, it was helpful to establish a repo together. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you all. Thank you.